Hi, this is Rabbi Jeremy from Mahar, and I'm going to talk to you today about a custom that's associated with the high holidays that maybe you've done before or maybe you've heard of done before but haven't done yourself, called Tashlich. So first, what is Tashlich? Tashlich is a ceremony that people do usually in the afternoon after Rosh Hashanah or at any point kind of right around the high holidays, but most commonly on the first afternoon of Rosh Hashanah. And they'll get some breadcrumbs or something like that, and they'll go to a body of water, usually a lake or a river, and they will toss the little bits of water in, not bits of water, they'll toss the little breadcrumbs in, and kind of connect that action with bad things they've done in the prior year or with bad intentions that they've had over the prior year, so that they can kind of cast those off symbolically and get them out of their lives and start new on Rosh Hashanah. So that's the basic idea behind Tashlich. There are some variations on how people do Tashlich. So one thing that some people do is they also empty out the lint in their pockets. So they'll turn their pockets inside out and shake the lint out. Some people even go swimming in whatever the body of water is, and that cleans out their garments, it cleans out them. So those are a couple of variations, but really the most common way of doing it is to take breadcrumbs, go to a body of water. There are a couple of other ways that sometimes people feel are more meaningful. So one possible way of doing Tashlich is to stay inside, and a group of people can do this together, taking strips of dissolvable paper, writing things from the prior year that they'd like to get rid of, just like they would for a Tashlich outside with breadcrumbs, and then take the dissolvable paper and put it in a bowl of water. And when you do that, the paper dissolves, and it's like those prior bad things are melting away for the coming year. Another thing that some people do is actually called a reverse Tashlich. How does reverse Tashlich work? So instead of going out and tossing things into the water, you go out and you clean up something. You clean up the water, you clean up a pond, or you can clean up the side of the road, or you can do a community cleanup project. And any of these things have now become associated with Tashlich. And doing the reverse cleanup is a way of kind of improving the world around you while you engage in some amount of being outside and tossing out bad intentions and bad acts, right? But sometimes you're taking away other people's bad intentions and bad acts by picking up trash or cleaning something up or participating in an environmental cleanup kind of activity. So those are the ways that people do Tashlich. The why is interesting. The why is interesting because there's a lot of controversy over the course of about 1,000 years of Jewish life as to whether people should even be doing Tashlich. So Tashlich was a really popular folk custom because it allowed people to kind of engage in an activity beyond going to a synagogue and listening to the Torah being read and participating in a service. It was a way for them to physically do something, to feel like they had gotten rid of bad acts and bad intentions and bad feelings. However, the practice of tossing bread into the water was something that worried some rabbis because they didn't want people to think that if you did this, that meant that you were forgiven for all the bad things you did. And so they tried to discourage people from doing this or tried to put constraints around it. So that's kind of part of Tashlich's history, is that not everybody thought it was a great idea. And the reasons for it not being a great idea were really linked into being concerned about how other people decided to practice being Jewish. Why did people start to do this? There's a number of explanations. Probably it's a folk custom. Probably something similar was done by other people around Jews. They picked it up. Probably. Over time, explanations developed. One explanation for tossing breadcrumbs in, and usually the idea is that you would toss breadcrumbs in a body of water where there were fish. You're not supposed to toss the breadcrumbs at the fish, but just in the body of water near the fish. The idea behind doing this is that there are some biblical verses that talk about fish being caught in nets. And the idea was that fish are caught in nets the way that people can be caught in transgression and bad behavior, like a net that kind of drags you in. So some rabbis thought that connection, there's a verse in Ecclesiastes that talks about fish being caught in a net. Some rabbis thought that was the connection. The book of Micah, one of the prophetic books of the Bible, talks about the idea of sins being tossed into the sea, sins being cast into the ocean and removed from people. And so some rabbis connected Tashlich, the casting off of physical items that were symbolic of bad behavior. They connected Tashlich to that verse in Micah. So that's kind of the background for Tashlich. Now, what's really interesting about Tashlich is that some people really do feel better. Tashlich can make you feel better. In fact, Tashlich makes some people feel so much better that there is a klezmer song called Fun Tashlich, which means on Tashlich or for Tashlich, and it's actually a very upbeat tune because it's celebrating somebody's feeling like they've been released. So that's what Tashlich is kind of all about. We do a Tashlich as part of Machar's high holiday celebrations, and we usually do it on Rosh Hashanah. We won't be able to gather in person for it this year. However, on the Saturday evening at the end of Rosh Hashanah, Machar only observes one day of Rosh Hashanah. At the end of that day, I'll be doing a live Havdalah service and Tashlich out, hopefully outside, near where I live, and you can participate in that at home from your phone, maybe out in a park or something like that. So I do hope that you'll join me for that, and I hope that I'll be able to see you sometime soon. Thanks for watching.